So today I want to talk a little bit about the three biggest things that have kind of held the Spurs back since the NBA restart. Shooting, size, and lack of experience. So first thing we're going to talk about shooting, and one thing I'll just point to is four of our probably five best shooters. Off the top of my head, Patty Mills, Marco Bellinelli, Bryn Forbes, and Rudy Gay are maybe our four best shooters. You could add Derek White in there, but Derek White's a good defender. So my point is the other four guys are all horrible defenders. They're the four worst perimeter defenders on the team. And so it's not as much as we lack shooting, it's our best defenders just aren't great shooters. And so we're going to talk about DeJounte Murray just doesn't want to shoot the three ball. Lonnie Walker needs to be shooting more threes. Kelton Johnson, he's just now starting to get some minutes, but I'd like to see him shoot some more threes. And I think that problem would eventually fix itself if guys just become a little more aggressive. Now in the future, to replace the other four guys that we're talking about, so Patty Mills, backup point guard, backup shooting guard, backup small forward, or power forward for Rudy Gay, we really want to replace them with guys that can shoot and play defense. And then I think in the future that problem will sort itself out. Now, as far as experience goes, it's the same thing. We're just now starting to play our optimal lineups, in my opinion, since the NBA's restarted. So guys like Kelton Johnson just need more time. Guys like Drew Eubanks, you kind of throw them into the wolves against Joel Embiid, against Nikola Jokic. They're just not ready to play him yet. And that's the problem with Jakob Poeltl. Poeltl's used to playing as a backup center and used to playing against backup centers. Now, I know he does play minutes against the starting center when Aldridge is playing too, because he's one of our better defenders. But at the same time, Poeltl's used to getting the majority of his minutes as backup center. So it's going to take time for him to adjust, and it's definitely going to take time for Drew Eubanks to just adjust to getting minutes. I think the more minutes Kelton Johnson gets, you'll see him finishing at the basket at a higher rate. And it's just really important going into next season that this team just gets more and more experience playing together, notably the young guys. So now we're going to look at his size. Jakob Poeltl is definitely good enough to play starting center in the NBA. But guys like Joel Embiid are going to not expose him, but they're going to get their own. Embiid's bigger and stronger. Poeltl played against Jokic, who isn't necessarily bigger and stronger, but he's crafty, a little more skilled than Poeltl, and obviously he can shoot threes. Now, Drew Eubanks, I honestly love his game. He's kind of a workhorse center. I know a lot of people think Poeltl tends to be soft sometimes, and I don't think anybody's saying that about Drew Eubanks. He's not the most skilled, not the most talented player in the world, but he's a decent athlete and a really solid backup, hardworking center. So in the future, if I'm going to talk a little bit about how the Spurs can kind of get better size-wise, I'm not going to really talk about center, though. I'm going to talk more about power forward. And I think in the draft is where we're going to be looking to improve at the power forward position. Obviously, we drafted Lucas Samanic with our first-round pick this year. I think it was the 19th pick of the draft. It doesn't look like he's going to be ready for at least 2 years. That's just my opinion. I've watched him play some in Austin. He's played some in the big leagues, but I just don't think he has it yet. Obviously, he has the skill set. Obviously, he's a fluid athlete, but I think it's going to take a couple of years just for him to click and get it all. With that said, there's three guys in the draft this year I'm kind of looking at. Patrick Williams out of Florida State being the first one. His draft profile, or his draft comparison, I should say, is actually Chris Singleton, who came out the same year as Kawhi Leonard. A lot of Spurs fans, including myself, were hoping when we traded up that Chris Singleton was going to be the pick. Matter of fact, when I heard Kawhi Leonard, I was like, dude, who is this guy? And that happened to end up working pretty well for us, at least for some time. The next guy who I looked at a draft projection, and he was projected to go the pick after they had us taking Patrick Williams, was Precious Achiuwa. And he's another guy who kind of fits the profile. 6'8", 6'9", can play small forward, can play power forward. I'm not sure what his upside is. I don't think he's quite as good of a shooter as Patrick Williams, but probably at least as good or better of a defender. The third guy I'm looking at is Jaden McDaniels out of Washington. And his brother Jalen, I know, is in the league too. I can't think of what team he plays for. But his draft comparison I've seen on a lot of sites is Jonathan Isaac. And that's definitely the kind of player the Spurs need. Now, it doesn't show him going until late in the first round, so I don't know if probably not going to trade down, but maybe we could trade for another first-round pick. Because with the 11th pick of the draft, I'd kind of like to see us go with best player available, even if it doesn't fit a need Although we definitely need to solve that power forward position and get just a big athletic guy that can play defense. Because if I'm going to talk about another thing with size being an issue, Michael Porter Jr., we didn't have anybody to guard him. We didn't have anybody to defend Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, these 6'8", 6'9", 6'10 guys that can shoot threes, that are athletic enough to play at the wing. Those are the guys giving us the fits, because our biggest wing defensive player is honestly Kelton Johnson, and he's 6'5". So you can't expect him to lock down Michael Porter Jr. We've got to find another guy to do it. I know Jay Crowder is a guy that's probably going to get linked throughout the offseason with us. And in his prime, he was a really good defender. I think he's getting close to 30 now. I'm not sure if he's quite the player he was when he was 25. But he is a good perimeter player. He is a good defender. He can play the 3 or the 4. He is only 6'6", but he's big and strong. Personally, I would rather see us address that issue in the draft. And guys, that's pretty much it. So the restart's halfway over. Well, the Spurs are, 2-2? We've had some kind of up and downs, but we've got a really tough schedule going into the rest of the season. We got the Rockets. I think we have the Jazz twice and the Pelicans, and that's going to wrap it up. So it's going to be really tough to make the playoffs, like I said in the last video. But I think it's good that the young guys are getting a chance, and they're starting to progress, and you're starting to see what they're made of. Derek White, honestly, since the restart, has been the best player on the team, in my opinion. Kelton Johnson's been very good as well. Now, I don't want to discredit DeMar DeRozan because he's been a very good closer, and Rudy Gay's shot the ball much better than I think most people thought he would. So guys, I'll continue talking about the Spurs and putting out some more Spurs content. Not going to forget about the Texas Rangers, even though they can't buy a win right now. And as it gets closer to football season, you'll start to see some more Dallas Cowboys content. But leave me a like, leave me a comment, do me a favor and subscribe. And just tell me about what kind of content you enjoy seeing from me. But that's about it, guys.